Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another wonderful episode of She Power right here on WTV Kenya. I'm your host, Linda Kroeger. Now today on the show, we will be focusing on persons living with albinism. And I have with me on set a very wonderful lady, Florence Kisombe. Karibu sana kwenye She Power.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. And getting straight into the conversation, albinism is defined as a genetic condition that you have the reduction of production of melanin in the body. It affects the skin, the hair, and the eyes. When, I think, that moment in life where you realize that you were different from everybody else, maybe you could share that with us.
Okay, for me, I realized I'm different when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say 17? Or when I was in high school, to be specific, when I started having feelings for boys. And when we were going out for events, because I used to participate in drama festival, music festival. So when we went out for events, I could find myself alone because boys didn't want to mingle with me. They didn't want to come and, say hi. Yeah, so that's when I realized I'm a bit different from the rest, because the guys could go to the other ladies who are normal, and I'm using the quotes. Yeah, so that's when I realized I'm different.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't a big deal to me, because I had the love and support from my fellow students, and also from my parents and my brother and sisters. So it wasn't a big deal.
It wasn't a big deal for
Yeah.
you. How did that make you feel? Having other people not accept you for being generally, like everybody else.
It made me question a lot, but not in a negative side. I really wanted to know more, because before, like when I was a young kid until when I was in high school, I never had questions why I'm light-skinned.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was normal, because that's what I was used to since when I was young. So it was just a normal thing for me, and what I wanted was to know more. And why are these people thinking that it's not okay to mingle with me?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know more. I wanted to ask more questions, but I couldn't do that with my parents, because my parents were like, "Oh, we love you, you're beautiful, you should embrace yourself." And that's what I knew since when I was a kid. And so what I did was, after high school, when I came to Nairobi now, because I grew up in Shags, so it's when I started, creating awareness, and yeah.
That is amazing. And I mean, you're a very beautiful lady. I must say that, inside and out. And we have this very big misconception amongst Kenyans in terms of albinism and people living with albinism. And one that was very apparent at the recent edition of Fatuma's Voice, where we had one person being asked if they would date somebody who was, a person living with albinism, and they said no. Why do you think we have all this negativity?
I think these are beliefs that have been inherited from generation to generation to generation. Mm-hmm. And these are beliefs that our great-grandparents used to have, because most persons with a disability generally were used to be killed in the past. Mm-hmm. I hope you know that. Oh, yeah. So now, in our generation today, young people, they have that belief in them that it's not okay to mingle with a person with disability. And now, that's the reason why you find the young guy at Fatuma's Voice, you find them saying they cannot date a person with albinism. And there's no big deal dating a person with albinism. It's just the fact that I'm light-skinned. It's the same way you're brown, another person will be dark, another person will be lighter than you. It's just the amount of melanin in our bodies. That's the only difference.
Oh yeah. And in fact, to give a better clarification to the viewers at home, you could tell us what albinism actually is, being a person living with it.
albinism, apart from being a genetic condition, it's just living a normal life. You wake up, you do your normal activities, you go to work, you go to school. The only thing that it's different with me is I will have to use sunscreen lotion because of the sun rays, and also I'll have to use sunglasses because the fact that I don't have melanin in my body, it's automatic. I don't have melanin in my eyes, and therefore I tend to have low sight. Yeah, so that's the only difference I can say. But it's normal life. I can go to work. I can cry. I have emotions. Yeah. So generally, it's just living a normal life.
Oh yeah, and I hope the viewers are catching this and actually grasping single thing that we're talking about here on She Power. Going back into the discussion, when you're 17 and you realize that you're different and now you want to create awareness and talk about it, how did you go about it?
First and foremost, I grew up in Taita Taveta, and I went to primary and high school in Taita Taveta. And so when I finished high school, I came to Nairobi. I joined the University of Nairobi. And so when I came, one thing that I wanted in particular was to join an organization that helps in improving lives of persons with albinism. And one of the organizations that I joined was, the first one was Dr. Chok's Albinism Foundation. And that's when I actually met other persons with albinism for the first time. I met other ladies who were beautiful like me, and I was like, oh, okay, these people exist too. Because I've never met persons with albinism apart from my brother. I have an elder brother who is also a person with albinism. So I'm used to my brother only. We are the two wazungus around. Yeah, so when he joined, I went to this organization and then I found several other persons with albinism. It was like, okay.
So you got to interact with
them. I got to interact with them. I got to ask questions, and I needed to know their side of story. What was it for them to be a person with albinism? And so I started getting different stories. Other people, they tell me they were abandoned by their parents while they were young. Others, they tell me their challenges, while they were in school, they had to go to special schools, So it's different. It was different kind of stories that I was getting.
Amazing. And you got to interact and kind of have, a very different experience at that. And maybe you can share with us some of the stories and experiences that stood out for you, now stepping out and interacting with other people living with albinism who have gone through, different situations and different things.
One particular story, I wouldn't mention their names, but she was abandoned by her mother, and she had to go through lots of challenges. She grew up in, her grandmother took her in, and she brought her up. Yeah, I don't know if
so the parents actually just left her.
But she conquered all that, and right now she's doing great. She's my mentor, if I can say that. Yeah, and she's doing great.
That is amazing. Now the albinism movement in Kenya is growing, and I think for me that is something very profound and encouraging to see that they're trying to raise awareness, and especially with the things that we've been seeing going around in Africa towards people living with albinism. What do you think the Kenyan public should be able to understand and take it upon themselves in terms of accepting people living with albinism?
I think the problem is not even yes, the problem is with the public, but I also think we also have a part to play, like persons with albinism. And I believe once we are out of hiding and we are doing, activity, we are participating in activities like any other person, I think that is awareness enough to make people realize we have normal lives. If we can be musicians, if you can go to school, if you can, be CEOs and those great jobs, I think that is major information and education to people, like we can also have a normal life. And once like we fall in love and we get married and people see this, they can actually realize we have normal lives. So I think we have a great part to play as persons with albinism. At the same time, I think the public should also have the love aspect in them, and embrace everyone, because there's no one who is more important than the other. We are all the same.
That's very true.
Yeah, the same world, the same resources. We're just competing in the same world. So I think we should embrace one another.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
most definitely. As we wind up this first segment, I want to refer once again to the Fatima's Voice session, and one very important discussion point was brought up, and it's in the sense that you'll find most people tend to want to discriminate against people living with albinism.
Yeah.
But what if the tables are turned? You go to an employer, you find that she's a person living with albinism, she or he, and you expect them to accord the same form of equality that you're supposed to. I mean, how are people living with albinism, full of that love? Or are they too hurt in terms of discrimination to actually accord the same equality?
I would say we don't have the discrimination in us, but most times you find a person with albinism who has achieved whatever they have achieved and they want to employ people, they'll give the first priority to persons with albinism. Because we're also trying to give them employment, and we're trying to make their lives better. So you'll find that the priority will be the person with albinism. But again, we're looking at their qualifications. And so we don't discriminate. We also welcome the rest. Yeah.
Oh yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Florence. Yeah. We're taking a short break, viewers. But when we come back, we continue to talk to Florence about her experience as a person living with albinism, and we get to have fun with her in She Fun Facts. Keep it WTV Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to She Power. Now, a study by Twaweza Kenya says that 8 out of 10, that's 79% of Kenyans, are of the perception that persons living with albinism are the same as everyone else. That is truly wonderful news. Equality for all. And that is what we're preaching here on She Power. I'm joined in studio by Florence Kisombe. Karibu.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's get back into our discussion. And most people have the misconception that a person or a child born with albinism requires constant care and attention. How true is this?
That's very true. And the reason why we need constant care is because of the sun. And when you're a baby, you know nothing about your skin, you know nothing about that you have albinism. All you want is to play, and you want to go around jumping, because that's me when I was young. So we need constant care. We need to put on protective clothes. We need to put on kofias. We need to put on one major thing that I would say is sunscreen lotion. That is the main thing that you need. And I think for parents, you need to do that every now and then to make sure your baby has a normal life. They can go and play. They can mingle with other people, and actually their skin can be proper and smooth. Yeah.
In terms of awareness, I'm looking at the rural areas in the country, and let's say parents that don't even really understand what sunscreen lotion is and its purpose. How do we get that message out to them?
I think organizations are coming up and with different programs to reach out to rural regions. And I'll give an example of Kala Cafes. And one thing they do is distribute sunscreen lotions to schools out of Nairobi. So they target schools, special schools where children with albinism, they school. And so they go to St. Lucy's. In Meru, they go to, Kisumu, Eldoret. Every month they have to go to a particular area and distribute sunscreen lotions. And I think that itself is helping these children. And also sometimes we call in parents and we have a discussion with them and tell them, make sure the kid wears this certain of clothes, make sure they have sunscreen lotion at all times, even in cold season, though it's not that needed, but you need it.
Oh yeah, you gotta be safe just in case. And I want to touch on a very sensitive issue. And that's what we've seen in the past, as I mentioned, and even in the present in Africa, where we have myths and misconceptions and just lies that have been spread in terms of the use of body parts of people living with albinism for witchcraft and all manner of things. What's the problem there? Like, what can we do to stop it? It's something that's been there decades and decades and decades, and we just can't seem to halt it in its steps.
Yeah, I think we have a long way to go with that. We need to do lots of awareness, and we need to educate as many people as possible, because it's a belief that is in their heads. People are driven by beliefs. You do what you believe. You work. Our daily lives they're based in beliefs. They're those who believe in God and whatever. So these are beliefs that people grow up with inside them, and I think we need to do a lot of work to actually remove them. Right? Yeah. So I think we need to do a lot of work with that.
In your experience and interactions and from stories maybe that you've heard and experiences from people who've shared, where did it come from really? Because we have it in West Africa, we have it in East Africa. It's basically everywhere.
There's no one who knows the history behind those myths, and so I think it's those wazees, those
passing it on to generation and generation.
And they tell people once you check their body parts, and I don't know, some they say you mix it with porridge, some I don't know, you do whatever they know best, and then you be rich, you be wealthy. And so I think it's mainly from those wazees who are bringing it up, but
passing it on. It's really a sad state of affairs. And maybe I'd ask you, if somebody is watching the show right now and they're a person living with albinism and, they feel threatened in that way, what course of action should they take?
I think the first step you should take is to inform people around you. And if you are sure, like you've had rumors around that there's someone planning to kidnap you or, do something bad, I think the first step is to communicate, tell people, like, there's something that I'm hearing, anything can happen. Let people know and people protect you. Yeah, because once you're silent, anything can happen to you and no one will know. So I think communication, and then be cautious in terms of time. Don't walk around during nights. Know your timing. You're supposed to be here at what particular time. You're supposed to be out of the house in the morning at a particular time. Don't go out around 4. You never know what will happen. Don't come at night around 10 or 11. Be cautious about time.
All right, just be cautious. And are there particular organizations that somebody can approach for safety? Even if the people that you're talking to are not maybe very interested in keeping you safe.
I think you'd approach the organizations that improve lives of persons with albinism. Maybe inform the police, or just beware. Let the organization beware that there's something going on your side.
All right.
Yeah.
Just for safekeeping. Wonderful. It's about that time where we go to our She Fun Facts. And ladies and gentlemen, just before we move on to She Fun Facts, we'll be sharing at the end of the show the different organizations that support and improve the lives of people living with albinism. And you can share, talk to us on social media, and let's get this conversation rolling. Right now, let's get to She Fun Facts. Florence Kisombe, what is your favorite hairstyle?
I'd say braiding my hair.
You love braiding your hair?
I love braiding my hair.
What color?
Blonde.
Blonde?
Yeah.
Nice. But you do a little mix of black and...
No. I don't like black.
Uh-huh.
I like, it's either blonde or different colors like, purple, red, yellow, whatever. Yeah, but I don't like black.
Very colorful.
Yeah.
What is your favorite song? And sing the chorus of your favorite song.
My favorite song. Oh God.
It's okay. Take your time.
I'd say right now,
Uh-huh.
Into You by Ariana Grande.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know how to sing. I just, yeah, so please excuse me.
That's okay. Into You, Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
If God gave you one wish today, right now, that's not based on material things, what would it be?
I would love to be the humble guy ever in this world.
You'd ask for more humility.
Yeah.
Why?
I feel once you're humble, you'll get to reach out to as many people as possible, and you'll actually, help as many people as possible. So I would love to be humble.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And on to the fun part. I'm going to share with you a tongue twister, and you're going to repeat it for us 3 times. Okay? Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
It's the one in blue.
What if this is it's hey.
Stu is the name of the guy.
If Stu choose the shoes he choose. Are you serious?
1, let's go, 2 more.
What if Stu choose
Okay, go going, go slow.
if Stu choose shoes, should Stu choose the shoes he oh my God.
One more time.
If Stu choose shoes, should Stu choose the shoes he choose?
There you go. See?
Okay.
It's not so bad.
Gosh, it's hard.
No, it's not. I think you did great. And thank you so much, Florence, for joining us
Thank you.
and for sharing with us and, giving us deeper insight into albinism and, people living with albinism.
Yeah.
And we celebrate the wonderful work that you're doing, and do keep talking.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen, I've been joined by Florence Kisombe, and we've been talking all things albinism and people living with albinism, pardon me. I hope you've picked up a pointer or two, and that you will keep the conversation going and let us make all Kenyans equal. I've been your host, Linda Kroeger. This is She Power. Keep it WTV Kenya.
I'm so